What's up, everybody? Welcome back to Second Street. I hope you're all having a very good day today. And here we are getting ready to talk about the Falcon and Winter Soldier. That's what I want to talk about today. Do some predictions. And I want to do these predictions based on the 21 irrefutable laws of leadership. These are some principles, a book written by John Maxwell. And you know what? It's a book that I've read several times, as a matter of fact, and it's something that I've actually put into play in my life, if you will, in the sense that I used to work in an environment where I was in a leadership role. But before I even got into some of those actual leadership roles, there's one thing about leadership that is for sure, is that not everybody is a natural born leader, but leadership skills can be honed. But one of the things it definitely takes to be a leader is it takes something to get there. You know, you don't just start from zero. You have to build your way up there. A lot of that starts with following the laws of teamwork and what it means to be a team player. And there's a lot of things that I have seen throughout the Falcon and Winter Soldier series that I want to talk about today that apply to these particular subjects. Now, I was actually inspired to do this through, I've been looking to do some new content here on the channel, and I will probably actually do a video just like this, actually after Falcon and Winter Soldier has ended, and we will take a look at these same principles and we will apply it to the whole show and maybe the outcome. I mean, maybe I could be wrong here, but we're going to go ahead and take a look at some of these. I was inspired to do this as well in this format, this predicting format, from my good friend Will Morgan over at Meta Egg. If you guys don't know Meta Egg, you should go check them out. I don't have a link right here right now where I can go look that up. I suppose we could go look that up really quick to find out where his stuff is at. I don't even have all my stuff ready here to do that. And you know what, maybe I'll just link that at the end of the show. We'll dig in there and find that, because we're going to be running a little bit short on time here. I've got stuff I've got to do. I'm sure you've got stuff you've got to do. Hey, so let's go ahead and get right into it. And as I said, I was inspired by him because when they were doing the WandaVision series, my man Will Morgan was actually going through and he was taking tarot cards and he was looking at how it applied to the WandaVision series, and he had some really great stuff going on there, and it was really great, and it got me thinking when I was thinking about some new content to bring here on the channel. And I was like, you know what, I don't have time to do predictions, a video well produced like I would like to do for you guys of predictions, but certainly afterward we will do a video going through these same things, like I said just a minute ago. But let's go ahead and get started right off here with these 21 irrefutable laws of leadership. And if you guys have never read this book, it's absolutely great. John Maxwell is a great writer. I got to see him speak one time. And one of the things he definitely says is that everything rises and falls on leadership. And it's true. As a matter of fact, especially here in the MCU, it's something maybe I should go through and break down all of these movies and show some of the flaws, some of the things, some of the highlights and things like that as it pertains to some of the stuff as well. Maybe I should go back and do that. We'll see. We'll see where that starts off with. But here we've got the 21 irrefutable laws of leadership. So let's not waste any time and get right into that. Okay, first let me show you all these laws right here. The first one we've got here is the law of the lid, right? And the law of the lid states leadership ability determines a person's leadership ability determines a person's level of effectiveness. And basically what this means is your ability to lead people and the abilities that you have you can only go so far according to the leaders that you have. If you have leaders above you that only have limited, because everybody has potential, but sometimes you kind of reach that ceiling. You have to, if you are in a leadership role, and you can be in a leadership role and have leaders above you as well, all right? Especially like in management structures and things like that. But if you have a leader and that their ability is only so high, you can't go above that because their abilities aren't there. But any good leader will take and use their people, the other people who I guess you could say they somewhat manage people around them, to foster those ideas to help things move into the future. So The law of the lid is definitely a good one, and we can see that Sam Wilson throughout the MCU, his introduction, he started as not even really a sidekick. He was a man alone, doing his thing. We seen him introduced to Steve Rogers, when we seen them running together and everything like that, and then he somewhat became a sidekick of Steve Rogers. But we can see that through being a team player and following alongside Steve Rogers, that you could see that he was growing into this role by being a team player, playing along with Steve Rogers, working with him, everything that he done, sticking by Steve's side through the Civil War and beyond all of that. He's definitely somebody who has been a team player, and has grown his influence, and has done a lot of the good things that going on. And we can see that through him learning through Steve Rogers, he has actually learned a lot, and we're seeing that through this series, where he is actually stepping more into this leadership role, from where he was once a team player, just part of the team. He is actually stepping into a leadership role in this series, where you can see that Bucky is still at the point of a sidekick. He's still a man alone. He's not necessarily elevating to a leadership role here yet, that we can see. Or is he? We all know the Thunderbolts is getting ready to come, and we all know that Bucky has done a lot. When we think about the Thunderbolts and what Bucky has done and what his journey has been, he could certainly be somebody to be leading an outlaw band of characters who aren't necessarily bad guys, but aren't necessarily good guys. There's kind of those lines in between, right? And we see he's kind of in that role anyway, as is, where he's wanting to redeem himself. And you can even take a look at John Walker as well, where he has had a lot of his leadership abilities and things through what we've seen in flashbacks, through football, and then also going into the military and things like that. So he's been actually in a leadership role for quite a bit of time in his life. And through all these different things, we can see that he has actually done that and proved that, as he has been promoted through all these different ranks in these different positions. So we can see that really all three of our characters here kind of somewhat display these things, and the law of the lid. Now, the next one here is the law of influence, right? That's the second law there, the law of influence. And this one right here states that the true measure of leadership is influence, nothing more and nothing less. And that's exactly what we're talking about here. And what is influence? How do you gain that influence? A lot of that influence is gained through the respect of others, and even again, getting back to the laws of leadership. Or teamwork, you have to be a team player. People have to know that you have their back. And we can see again here, a lot of these people have kind of displayed these things here as well. The law of influence, where we can see, you can even take a look at a person like Lamar Hoskins, where he had some influence with John Walker, who was sitting there having conversations with him, who was obviously kind of his moral grounding here, if you will, in this series, where John Walker still has those leadership abilities. But there are some things he lacks, and he shows his team his leadership in the fact that he still does rely on Lamar, and he's willing to look to others, not just rely on himself. And we can see that Sam and Bucky have done that same thing as well. They've been team players. And Sam obviously has influence with others as well as Bucky, but more so Sam here. And this is one where, in this department, is definitely where Bucky falls short in his influence, in being able to influence people to do things, to follow him, if you will, where Sam has been growing that throughout the MCU. And that's why he is actually, this is how we know that he's actually going to grow into and be Captain America at the end. By the time we get to the end of this, you're going to see a lot of this. Okay, and this is this exactly brings up this next one, number 3 here, the law of process, right? Leadership develops daily, not in a day. And this is something obviously where Bucky's not even really on the radar here. But we again, getting back to John Walker, you can see where we kind of got his background, where he was in football, and he was in the military, and all of these things that he had done growing into the role of being a leader. But through these past God, what's it been? When was Sam introduced? It would have been introduced in Winter Soldier. What would that have been? 2000, what is that? 2010? 2010. So I don't know. I guess we could still I guess yeah. Somewhere around there. You can still look at the fact that he's been there for a while. He's been there for a while, for the better part of the decade there, and his leadership has grown, where you see he was that team player. And what we see throughout this series is where he is actually having to get these people and leading these people through these different things. And you can kind of see where Bucky is actually, through this series, kind of almost taking on the sidekick role to Sam Wilson in here as well, where we see that Sam actually obviously has more of the influence here as well. And again, something that John Walker has displayed throughout his career, this storied career that he has had, that we have limited knowledge of. But then moving into law number 4 here, right? We got law number 4 here. All right, and law number 4 here is the law of navigation. It states anyone can steer the ship, but it takes a leader to chart the course. Right, and that's definitely something where we're getting a little more delving into things here with like Sam and John Walker here. And like I said, a lot of this is to show that this is why Sam will be getting the shield at the end of the series. Anyone can steer the ship, but it takes a leader to chart the course. Where we've seen here that Sam and Bucky, as they are tracking down the flag smashers and trying to find out what's going on here, looking for the power broker and everything, Sam really seems to be the one that has more of the connections. He's the one that's calling the shots. And think about where they would be if Bucky had been leading all of those things. It just wouldn't be quite the same. Now you can take a look at John Walker as well. Now this is one where John Walker actually starts to fall short on, because as we can see through the series, they actually they keep falling short on their goal of tracking down the serum, the flag smashers, or even the power broker. We can see that they're always just one step behind, and they actually have to look to Sam Wilson and Bucky Barnes to figure out what they are doing. So there are some things where you can see, again, this is where Sam actually is a more resourceful person, and somebody that a lot of more people are looking to and willing to work with. So this is definitely somewhere where Sam has once again another check for him. He's winning the points here. The next one here is the law number 5, the law of EF Hutton. When the real leader speaks, people listen. Right? When the real leader speaks, people listen. This is number 5. Now, this is one where perhaps John Walker might actually have a couple more points here than Sam Wilson, where Sam Wilson has kind of been doing this teamwork thing. He has been working with the military and stuff like that, where we've seen that John Walker has been a leader. He's done these things, and through some conversations he had with Lamar Hoskins, we could see that he has been through a lot of bad stuff, and that people do still look to him through leadership, even through all of the things that he has done. So but definitely these are guys who are still kind of stepping into these new roles as far as that is concerned. So as far as that, when they're speaking and people listening, we can obviously see as well when Sam goes to confront Carly. It wasn't a fight. It wasn't a battle. You know, he wasn't there to butt heads. He was there to talk to her, and she was actually listening and wanting to sort of coming down from that ledge, if you will. And then the second that John Walker steps in, everything became confrontational, and that's where you can see that John Walker doesn't quite have that same influence where he does. And this is where he relies a little bit more on his role of Captain America to strike the fear into people and to get them to follow orders. Again, this is something that if you're in a professional environment, you could look at the difference between a manager and a real leader. So right here, number 6 is the law of solid ground. Trust is the foundation of leadership, right? Trust is the foundation of leadership. This is again one where I think that Sam Wilson he kind of falters in maybe the governmental sense, where he had broke the Sokovia Accords when he went along with Steve and all of that through Civil War. Where his trust with between him and the government isn't there, but his trust with a lot of the other people, the other Avengers and the other people around him, definitely is there, because all these people know that they can rely on Sam to be there, especially when it comes to a Steve Rogers and people who were, I guess you could say, Team Cap. In the end, when they were all united, though, I think they all know that they can rely on Sam to be there and be that team player along with them to help fight along their side without it really being major issues when it comes to dealing with decidedly bad guys that they are decidedly all against. But Sam has definitely built a lot more trust with a lot more people here, where Bucky, he's falling in this department. A lot of people don't trust Bucky because of all of the things that he has been through. Now, obviously, John Walker got promoted to where he is because he has the trust of the government. They trust in him to be a sound mind and make decisions based on what they view as acceptable as the government. And he's a yes man, and that's something I think going into episode 5 here, that we know after seeing the last episode, the whole world is watching. You see that you can see that John Walker went out there and brutally beat a man to death. Now, was that right? Absolutely not. Absolutely, I'm not saying it was right or anything. Yesterday, I justified that, right? Now, the thing here is that knowing the whole situation, a lot of people wouldn't blame that. But seeing that is shocking and jarring. And again, I think it was all done for very symbolic reasons. But that's the thing, is he has the trust of the government. The government by no means probably frowns upon that, other than it looks bad. But the government, as far as John Walker is concerned, to the government, I'm sure they don't even bat an eye at that, because these are people he has been at war. He's had to do that. People know that when you go to war, it's not pretty. You're not setting out there shooting. You're not out there with water balloons and water guns. You know what I mean? You're out there actually killing people, and that is the background that he actually comes from, John Walker. So he has the trust of the government more so than he has the trust of other people. That's why he has a problem getting Sam and Bucky to want to work with him. So the trust that they have there is on the opposite side here, as far as that is concerned. And we know that, like, the government and the superheroes, while there is a trust, there's still it's still on shaky ground. So again, this is one that one up for the government, like, where that John Walker is not going to probably experience a whole lot of backlash from the government for what he did there. From the government, I don't think he's going to get a whole lot of backlash, because that is the very nature of what they do as soldiers. I mean, hey, I could be wrong. I'm not saying that it's right or it's pretty or anything like that. That's just the reality of it. Now, moving into number 7, the law of respect. People naturally follow leaders stronger than themselves, right? The law of respect. Again, this is another one that we can kind of see here, where John Walker definitely falters on this one. He doesn't respect much other than the people in charge of him, his leaders, if you will, leaders in rank. He is a yes man. He don't respect Sam and Bucky. We have seen that constantly. He don't respect the Dora Milaje. He don't really have much respect for others. He has respect for his partner, Lamar Hoskins. He loves him. He has respect for, I wouldn't even say for the law, more so than his respect is extended to the government, because that's where he comes from, the military background. He's a yes man for the government. All right. where we can see that the law of respect, Sam Wilson has, he respects others. He has the respect of others. You can see that Bucky has trusted him this whole time. You can even see that, even somewhat through this, Zemo has a respect for Sam Wilson, right? We see that a lot of people here through there, and there is there is a lot of that, and that right there is one reason why I think that we are going to see we are actually going to see John Walker hand that shield over to Sam Wilson, is out of the law of respect. Is no matter what, these guys might both be leaders, but Sam, and this is something that's going to come up in another one of these as well, but John is going to recognize that Sam is a greater leader than himself, that he is somebody more fit to wield that shield, and he is going to hand it over, because he does have that respect, and he does respect the fact that Sam Wilson probably is a stronger leader than him, and that's something that he's going to find out here in these next couple of episodes. Law number 8, the law of intuition. Leaders evaluate everything with a leadership bias, right? Take a look at that one. Leaders evaluate everything from a leadership bias. We can see that that is not what John Walker does, right? John Walker, this is one he definitely follows, the law of intuition. This is why he is actually looking to Sam and Bucky, because he don't have that. He's not looking at things. He's looking at things through being a yes man for the government. Sam Wilson is not that yes man for the government. He is evaluating these things, and that's why he wants to actually go and have a conversation with Carly and the Flag Smashers, because he knows that while they are they're definitely not good guys, while they think they're out to do something good, he believes that he can go and convince them and have these conversations with them to convince them and turn them and get them to back down from what they are doing. And I think by all counts, he perfectly displays this, is that he's seeing it through that lens, and not wanting to just be a yes man, somebody who is following orders. He wants to be that leader and be like, hey, look, there's obviously something going on here, why these people are doing this and why they feel this way, even though knowing that they actually just bombed they had bombed that GRC place where they had all the supplies and everything. He knows that, yet he's saying, you don't do all of these things without it being for a reason. What's the reason? I mean, can we find some sort of reason? And not always are you going to find a reason within people, but that's one of the things he's doing, is he wants to find that middle ground before he just resorts to going to all-out war. Now, number 9, the law of magnetism. Who you are is who you attract. Now, this is one I'm sure that we are all pretty familiar with. Who you are is who you attract, right? Who you are is who you attract. The law of magnetism here. This is a good one. People want to follow... people want to follow John Walker because he's a symbol, because he is Captain America, right? That's why they're, they care about that for him right now. Where Sam Wilson, he attracts others because of what he's gone through, what he does, what he symbolizes, and the fact that he has walked his own path this whole way, and this path of reasonability, not just being a yes man, being willing to question things if something is right or wrong. And you can kind of see that's what he's seen in Steve Rogers, is that Steve Rogers wasn't always willing to just be a yes man and do what somebody tells him and just listen to what somebody tells him. He wanted to think about things with a critical mind and really think about them and what is actually right and what is actually wrong, what benefits others and what's not. Is there sacrifices to be made? Now, is Steve Rogers perfect in all that? No, absolutely not. That's why we all have each other, and we have others out there that we value their word and listen to. And that's exactly what the law of magnetism is because Sam Wilson actually wants to do that with others. He wants to listen to people. He wants to hear people out. Bucky is a broken person. He's still trying to figure himself out. And we can see that John Walker, He don't want to hear people out. He wants to beat the truth out of them, and that's what we've seen constantly around every single turn throughout the series as well. So again, another thing where Sam Wilson is like really checking a lot of these off. Number 10, the law of connection. Leaders touch a heart before they ask for a hand. Right? Leaders touch a heart before they ask for a hand. I think that's something we see a lot of this throughout the MCU, especially with we've kind of seen that with Steve Rogers, but we're definitely seeing that with Sam Wilson. He displayed that perfectly, and John Walker is an absolutely terrible example of the law of connection. He's not looking to make the law of connection. He's not looking for any of that. He's not asking for somebody's hand. He wants to force cooperation out of you, right? Where Sam Wilson, you even seen where he goes to Carly. He's wanting to reason with her. Even with some of his dealings with Zemo. He's wanting to be reasonable. He wanted to talk to these people and hear them out and what they had to say and try to learn what their viewpoint is, what their perspective is on all of this. And he's not asking them to, and that's the thing, is he's not even asking for their hand. He's asking, trying to hear them out and hear the words that they have to say and get an understanding for where they're coming from, because he needs to know that before he can ask them to step down from what they're doing, to stop exactly what they're doing. And that's why he went to Carly Morgenthau and had that conversation with her, because he has a feeling that while she does she appears to want to be doing something good, but she just don't know the ways and the means in which to go about doing it. She's a child. She's a child who is who took some power, I guess you could say, by displaying some laws of leadership, by doing that. But it's not leadership through influence, more leadership through getting people connected. I mean, connecting to others through, we all know that it's easy to connect through others through emotional means. And, being here on YouTube, a lot of that emotion is easily more manipulated through hate than through love, right? Those hate clicks. So yeah, and that's Sam Wilson has actually displayed this perfectly well throughout the series. Now, number 11, the law of the inner circle. A leader's potential is determined by those closest to him. Right there, the law of connection. Right. Again, this is another one where his potential by those closest to him. John Walker has, those closest to him. He don't have those closest to him. He's in the military. He is a yes man for somebody else. People below him, people that are in charge. Again, a lot of people respect titles, not necessarily out of the fact that it's the person. A lot of times it's the title more so than anything. And if you think about it in the military, that's really kind of what it's all about. Now, is that always necessarily a bad thing? Absolutely not, especially if you have good leaders in those roles. But ultimately, it does come down to a thing where you basically have to do what I say. You are to follow orders, and you can see here. I would say that the law of the inner circle here. I would say Lamar Hoskins actually displays this between his connection with John Walker more so than John Walker does at all. Because we know that he was the one who was kind of that moral grounding for John Walker here throughout the series. And you can see that Sam Wilson actually displays this one really good as well, where a lot of these people around him trust in Sam Wilson and trust in him to do the right things. You can see he's actually working with the military. They trust him, right? He's working with them people as well, knowing that he is no longer a member of the military or anything like that. They still work along with him because they do trust in him and the people that he has worked with in the past. They know him to be of sound mind and body, and probably even more so enjoy seeing him elevated into this superhero role. Because when you've worked side to side with somebody that you like and respect, and I will actually go out there to say love, because in a lot of these things things, you do sort of start to feel that love in these relationships that you have with people through work relationships, and especially in things like that. But they people like to see those that they have worked alongside get elevated into bigger roles. If it's somebody that they have that has that they have that respect for. Certainly, there's certainly a lot of people out there who are scared of people like that as well. And John Walker would probably be one of those kind of people who's scared of somebody with more influence than they do. But I think by the end of the series, we're going to see that he actually displays that perfectly well. That he actually does display one of these others as well that I had talked about a little bit earlier in which one was it here? The law of respect. People naturally follow leaders stronger than themselves. Now moving into the next one. 12, the law of empowerment. Only secure leaders give power to others, right? Only secure leaders give power to others. Again, this is one that John Walker, he's not looking to do. He's not looking to display this at all. This is where he definitely falters. He don't want to give power to others. He don't want to do that at all. He don't want to empower others. He wants the control. He wants to beat people into submission, and we've constantly seen that. Again, this comes because of the position that he actually holds in the military and things like that. He is let's face it, he is just there to follow orders, right? But that doesn't mean he still can't be a leader, right? That doesn't, because you still have to be a team player in order to be a leader. It still takes teamwork. But Sam Wilson here, law of empowerment, that's kind of what he's wanting to do as well. We even seen that in episode 1. I mean, he was talking when he was talking to his friend, he was telling him who was tracking down the Flag Smash. He's like, all right, go ahead and do it, but be careful. Just be careful and let me know of anything that's going on there. He's not sitting there telling him, no, I don't think you can handle this. Much like, like Tony Stark was doing to Peter Parker. Like, stop, just slow down. Be a friendly neighborhood Spider-Man. Sam is saying, look, this dude's in the military. He's I trust this guy. This guy's been good. Just be careful, right? He's kind of giving him that okay in that sense. So he's willing to do that, to trust others with these things, this sort of power, if you will, to make their own decisions. Because a confident leader is willing to let people make their own decisions and let them live and let them stand by their decisions. And obviously, a good leader is always going to let somebody take credit for their own decisions as well, and not take the credit themselves. So yeah, another good one. 13. The law of reproduction. It takes a leader to raise up a leader, right? It takes a leader to raise up a leader. Now, this is one that I think Sam Wilson is being elevated to. This is why he is going to take on the mantle, because he was given that shield by Steve. Sam was given that the shield by Steve, and Steve saw in him things that he's seen to be able to elevate him to that level. That's why he handed him the shield. He knew all of the trials and tribulations that Sam was going to go through here. Throughout this journey, if you will, to become Captain America. He elevated him to that, not because it was just his best friend, one of his best friends of this era or anything like that. It was because he knows that Sam Wilson has the mental fortitude, has the trust. He's trustworthy and has all of these abilities and has all of these traits to lead on and take this role of Captain America as well. And that is exactly why Sam Wilson will be getting, again, another reason Sam Wilson will be getting the shield here by the end of this as well. And that's also why we're also going to see John Walker do that as well, because even though he is a yes man for the government, he knows he's going to see that Sam Wilson is actually a better leader and a better man than him, and more fit to carry that shield and have the mantle of Captain America. And I can tell you, so this is one where John Walker is actually going to represent it as well. This is one where maybe necessarily Sam Wilson don't, he actually is the one that models the role in the sense that he's being elevated due to the other leaders around him seeing that he is of that leadership quality to take on the role. So he kind of actually models it more so than follows by this one so far. So far. Next one is is law number 14, the law of the buy-in. People buy into the leader, then the vision, right? People buy into the leader, then the vision. This is to say that they have they see what you're doing. They see that you're a person that they can trust, that they can trust in to lead them to these victories, that you're of that sound mind and body. People want to naturally follow somebody doing good things, and people see that. I know when I used to when I used to work in a leadership role that I had, one of the things I always asked my guys to do, I was in charge of this certain crew, and there were certain things that I asked my guys to do, certain how would you say policies that told my guys, I'm like, dude, you guys have got to do this, and they're like, oh well, nobody else does. I'm like, they're not my people. While they are, and I could do all of these, I could go pull them in the office and coach them for all these things, but first I need you. I need my people that I'm over. I need you to display that I can keep you and my people under control when it comes to these policies. Then, after I can get you to listen to me and follow that behavior, follow this this thing, which is something that's so silly. It's so, like, seriously, guys, we can do this. I need you to do that for me, so I can show these other people when I go to talk to them that my people don't do that, because I asked them not to. I asked them not to because this is one of our policies. And now I'm asking you, because if you see one of my people doing this, please let me know so I can talk to them about this behavior. So I need them to set that example, so then I can go and talk to somebody else's thing, and that's kind of part of it. Is people would see my crew and the fun that they were having, and that they were getting the things that they were being rewarded. My people got rewarded in ways that I wanted to make sure that were meaningful, and people would see that, and people, some people may have had an idea about me, but they would see the fun my people are having, and the fact that my guys always had my back, and I took care of them, and they took care of me, is what it ultimately boiled down to. And people could kind of see that culture growing, and they want to follow that. They want to become part of that. They're like, how come it's miserable over here, but over here these dudes are having a blast? And you know what? By all means, they work harder than most of us physically. People want to be a part of that, and it spreads. But the thing is about those good and positive vibes and things like that, it doesn't spread as quick as the cancer of the negativity. That's why you got to keep it all in check. So that's one of the things, is you got to get, like I said, I had my people, and I went to bat for my people constantly, and they knew that. That's why they were willing to follow some of these policies that I asked them to, so I could go enforce them everywhere else. Because again, I can't go enforce them through these other places if I can't get you to follow them, and you are actually somebody that I am in control of here. So law of the buy-in is definitely a good one, and Sam Wilson, I think, displays these characteristics as well. Where John Walker, not at all. Number 15, the law of victory. Leaders find a way for the team to win, right? Leaders find a way for the team to win. Because again, this comes down to teamwork. Is in order for you to win as the leader, the team's got to win. You don't win as the leader if the team don't win. And that's why you need everybody on board. You need everybody to have that same vision, and that's why you've got to stress that same thing to everybody and kind of get them to see your way. And you can't force people to see your way. They've got to be willing to join in. And that's the thing, is you got to find a way to kind of let everybody have their victories, and that in itself, that takes compromise and things like that. And certainly there are things when you're a leader that you have to sacrifice yourself in order to maybe achieve those victories, because maybe there's something that you might have to compromise on as the leader, but overall the team wins and everybody's happy. Everybody's happy when you're winning, right? Absolutely. And that's what you want as a leader. And that's what Sam is trying to do, especially we seen there in episode number 4. He was wanting to talk to Carly to find out what's going on. What are we doing here? He's been trying to find out with Zemo what's going on, trying to find out from Dr. Nagel what's going on here. What can we do to put a stop to some of these things? Because putting a stop to this isn't really a victory for him. It's a victory for him in the sense that he saves lives and people end up in a better place at the end. Next, we've got 16, the law of the big Mo. Momentum is a leader's best friend. Momentum is a leader's best friend. This is one that we don't see either. We don't really see John Walker or Sam having much of right now. The momentum as far as things going their way in achieving victories, if you will. This is something that we're going to see Sam overcome here in these next couple of episodes, where we have seen John Walker has actually fallen through this. His momentum is slowing down through, because he hasn't had any victories. He's been following this whole time, so the momentum is definitely not on his side, where you can see that Sam really hasn't had any momentum, and here through these next couple of episodes we are going to see that momentum pick up. And again, like I said, everybody's happier when you're winning, right? Everybody's happier. Everybody wins except for the bad guys. Except for the bad guys. Number 17 is the law of priorities. Leaders understand that activity is not necessarily accomplishment. Right? Number 17. Not necessarily accomplishment. And that's absolutely true. You know, have you ever done something where it's a participation trophy, you know? Just because you're out there doing something doesn't mean that you did something right. Doesn't mean that you did something good. John Walker went out there and he stopped. Sure, he stopped and he brought to his own justice somebody who bombed the GRC and somebody who was part of a group that had killed his best friend, as well as many others. They're responsible for a lot of heinous crimes. But again, he was just doing an activity. It wasn't an accomplishment, because he stopped and he brutally murdered one person. He didn't stop the faction of people that they're out to stop. He didn't stop the bigger problem. He only took care of something that was small, minute, and right there. It wasn't the bigger picture, right? It wasn't the bigger picture. Where Sam Wilson, that's what he's looking for. He's not looking to just go out there and merely stop one person, just the car. That's why he wanted to go talk to Carly and figure out what their bigger mission is. What do they want? Because in order to stop something, you got to find out what somebody wants. If they're not asking for a ransom or anything, what do you want? And that's what he's trying to do, is go figure out what their goals are, so he can figure out a way to put a stop to all of these things. He's willing to hear this person out, this person who has done heinous things, right? Because regardless of anything, even if she gave up, Carly is going to face the punishment for her crimes. But her facing the punishment for those crimes just might make things better for the people that she was trying to make them better for them, right? And again, it comes at the sacrifice of her doing a lot of bad things. And again, that's something that really sets apart good guys from bad guys, the things they're willing to justify to meet their end. Now, the next one is number 18, the law of sacrifice. A leader must give up to go up, right? A leader must give up to go up. Again, this is something that ultimately you're going to have to do at some point. And this is kind of what I was talking about earlier. At some point, you're going to have to make some sacrifices to actually achieve victory. Now, that is up to the leader and what they are willing to sacrifice to reach that certain victory. Sam Wilson isn't willing to, he don't want to resort to the violence and killing people in order to defeat the Flag Smashers. He wants to find out what it takes to stop, what it will take to stop them, to satisfy their needs. And that gives that basically means him giving up and sacrificing on some of the things that he would probably rather do, that a lot of people would rather do, that John Walker would rather do. John Walker wants to bring these people to justice. He wants to see them answer for their crimes. He is not worried about the hardships and everything else that everybody is going through. He just wants to bring these people that are killing people to justice, right? Sam Wilson wants that, but he wants more than that, and he's willing to make some compromises to find out exactly. He's willing to make those sacrifices in order to bring all of these things to a more peaceful conclusion. And if anybody knows anything, that's ultimately better, right? Now, the next one, we got the law of timing. When to lead is as important as what to do and where to go, right? Okay. When to lead is as important as what to do and where to go. And this comes down to something, and I think that we're going to see this actually in this series even more so right here through this next episode. Probably out of John Walker and Sam Wilson, as a matter of fact. Sam Wilson's kind of been growing into that, deciding like I think he's finally deciding to be the leader, and that's kind of what we've seen his journey going through throughout this series. And I think this is probably something where we're going to see John Walker hand over that shield as well. He's going to realize that it's more important that the person that holds that shield and carries the mantle of Captain America be somebody more fit of a lot of these things, these emotional attachments, and to do their job, not being that yes man. And I think that's going to be one of the things, and why John Walker is actually going to decide that he needs to stop being a yes man to the government and actually work along with Sam and Bucky through this throughout these next couple of episodes. And I think that's also like kind of what Sam is going to be doing here as well, through kind of the sacrifices and things like that. He's going to be willing to make some of those compromises to try to put a stop to all of the things that are going on here through the law of time. He's going to see that it's time to step up and do the right thing, and he really perfectly displayed that in the last episode, wanting to go to Carly and talk in the first place. Number 20. The law of explosive growth. To add growth, lead followers. To multiply, lead leaders. To add growth, lead followers. To multiply, lead leaders, right? I think that's going to be something that we're going to definitely see on display here as well. We're seeing that Sam doesn't necessarily have a lot of people following him. He's slowly been collecting it, but what he was trying to do is when he went to talk to Carly is actually take her leadership ability and see that, because she's kind of the leader of these Flag Smashers. He was actually trying to reach out to her and find out what their demands are, what they want, so he could bring her and be like, okay, like we can do this, but you gotta be willing to compromise with us here. You can't keep killing people and all of this stuff. Trying to get other people to come to your side. That's what he's trying to do, and they've tried to do that. I think he's ultimately going to do that with John Walker as well, and be like, look, I need your help as well to stop the Flag Smashers and the Power Broker and everything that's going on here. That's what he wants. And in order to do that, he's going to need others. And again, this one is really coming down to teamwork and willing to take the different people that you need to assemble to make a team to accomplish a goal. And that's what he's looking to do. He knows that he needs more than just himself, and he knows that he needs team players that can go out there and be a leader with to others and bring them on, because that's ultimately what it's all about, right? I think that comes down to is that the rising water all ships, the rising tide. You know what I'm talking about. You know what I'm talking about. I'm not a sailor. I'm not a sailor. Now, the last one, probably the most important one, the law of legacy. A leader's lasting value is measured by succession. Right? The law of legacy. A leader's lasting value is measured by succession. This one comes down to something that Steve Rogers, him handing that shield over to Sam was, because he knew that Sam actually lived up to all of these values, that he was that person, that he would grow into that role by knowing his experiences and things that have come before, by being, they were friends. I'm sure they shared a lot of intimate relationship kind of friendship talk and things like that. And that's why they were worked so good together. There's synergy in working together. We're to the point where you almost never even have to ask somebody or tell somebody what to do. I've certainly been in situations like that where I was at work. Again, I had a crew of people, and when I wasn't there had to be somebody to keep the children in line, right? Ultimately, I want the children to keep themselves in line, but there was still always the one person there that I knew I could rely on, that I actually picked to keep an eye on the children. And this was actually somebody else that the children looked up to as well, who had taken on and grown into a leadership role themselves. And that was ultimately what it was all about. But ultimately, the thing came down to, look, this person is going to be in charge of you while I'm not here. You guys like and respect this person. You guys know this person works hard as well. But the thing is, like, I don't expect to come back and have to hear anything from him or anybody else that he had to keep you in line. Because that's what we expect of you, having that expectation that you can keep yourself in line. And you know what? For the most part, it didn't disappoint. And that's what we see going on here throughout this series as well, where that legacy, Sam stepping into that legacy after having it handed to him, where we can see that John Walker was just handed that legacy without having gone through that journey of knowing exactly what it is to grow into that role. His legacy was different. He was growing into the role. Like I said, he was a military man. He was the yes man. That's what he did. While he was a leader, he wasn't necessarily there for teamwork or anything like that. He was still a yes man for the government, not trying to display all of the leadership abilities that he had, let alone teamwork abilities. But I don't know. That's just if you ask me. That's all I've got for the 21 irrefutable laws and how they relate to the Falcon and Winter Soldier series. Now, how all of this does relate through some of these is the fact that John Walker will be handing over that shield to Sam Wilson willingly, because he is going to see that Sam is a better leader than him. He's going to see that he is more fit, and that he is just basically lives up to more of those things, the qualities that it takes to be Captain America, than he himself does after beating that man to death on the streets, right? So I don't know. That's if you ask me. He's going to recognize that greater leadership out there and hand over the shield willingly to Sam Wilson. But let's get here into the live chats and see what everybody is saying here. Okay. I don't think that's real. Anyway, sorry guys. Sorry, but yeah. Sorry. Let me adjust this camera here. We'll get here into the live chats and see what you're all saying. Sorry, I went all in. I went all in on that. Oh man. Yeah, we know. Thanks, Apple. Okay. So let's see here. We got Everyday Geeks here. We got my man Chillmonger. We got Reaper Man Reviews. We've got Ashley from The Widow, Normies to Nerds, my man Will Morgan in the house, Landon TLB, and Adam from Fanjecture. All right, let's see. See what everybody's saying. Love the Spider-Man shirt. Oh, yeah. Thank you. Had that one for a while, since the 90s. I've had that one since the 90s. It's old. It might be older than Will Morgan. I'm kidding. He's a boomer like me, I think. Morning. Bucky, named after a president. All right, John Walker, named after a whiskey. Yeah, yeah, absolutely. Um, let's see. So is John going to attract Dark Avengers Thunderbolts? Well, no, my actually, you know what? And that's kind of what I was thinking here as well. I'm glad you brought that up, Kendall. What I was thinking through what's going to happen here is I think this is actually where maybe Bucky actually goes on to lead the Thunderbolts. Maybe he's actually that one that goes on to do that. You kind of have these. The Thunderbolts, where they were bad guys, I wonder if they're going to change that up in the MCU towards people who are maybe morally questionable, who do some of these things. And John Walker could actually be one of those people as well. But I honestly think that if they did do that, that John Walker would probably if Bucky would probably lead, and John Walker would probably be maybe more of a team mate. Something happened? I don't know. But yeah. So I think it could be I think it could be Bucky that's actually going to do that, and John Walker may be part of the team. Yeah. Love how these laws connect with the trajectory of the show. Yeah, absolutely, 100%. And like I said, later after the series is over with, if everything goes right, I will go through and I'll break down all of these things in a video, and we'll do a nice little produced video and stuff like that, because I think a lot of them really do kind of show they help predict a few things, that Sam Wilson is growing into that role, that Bucky does not live up to that role of the leadership, that if he does it at anything, it would be for leading a team like the Thunderbolts, because we see where he's done all of these things. He's been bad. He's done everything. He's tried to be personally responsible for all of the bad things that he has done. So he's displayed that leadership quality in that sense. But if anything, he's also somebody that they kind of question. So he would be the perfect person to lead these people as well. In case you don't know, one of the recent Winter Soldier series was actually a series where he was going through and being sort of a overly interactive therapist for people who had been once been bad guys, once been criminals, and done things like that for their own, whatever reasons they justified it. So definitely been some very interesting things there. Definitely. What's the book called? It is The 21 Irrefutable Laws of Leadership. Follow them, and people will follow you. Fanjecture says it's time for the shield to end. Who was it that said that? Who was it? I can't remember who it was. Yeah, and I don't know. I just don't know. I think the shield's going to remain. Because one of the things I was talking about before was the shield being bloody is definitely symbolic of a lot of stuff. A lot of people aren't going to like that, and certainly it has been tainted. But I think the one symbolic thing is to show that that shield meant to defend can still be used as a weapon in the wrong hands, right? Maybe even the right ones. And I think that was really more so. And I think while the shield is tainted, I think it only adds to necessarily the legend or the legacy of the shield, for that reason, that you can actually hold the shield up and be like, look, this is meant to defend. This is what we use to defend ourselves. And it has actually been used by bad men to do bad things, just like anything else can be, right? Anything could be abused, right? I don't know. But I don't know. That's just if you ask me. I don't know. Let's see. Let's see what else we got going on here. Is that okay? I'm at the end of the chat. Come on, guys. Is that all you got? Is that all you got today? Anyway, guys. That's all I'm gonna have for today's live stream. We gotta get out and get to work. I hope you're all having a very good day. Now, make sure that you guys tune in this evening for the community live stream that we will bring people in. And honestly, I'm not sure how busy today is going to get. We might postpone it till this weekend. It might actually work out even a little bit better, so where everybody's had maybe a chance to watch the new episode. But pay attention to the channel for that. I'll probably post about that either on the tweeters or here on the community channel here or on the community tab here on the channel. But I guess it ultimately depends on how busy my Thursday is getting ready to be. So please make sure that you are subscribed and click that little bell notification so you get notifications anytime that I've uploaded new content or plan a live stream. You all have a good day, and we'll see you in the next video. Later.